Welcome back for episode 2 of The Doc is In. Again, my name is Doc J. It's so great to have you guys back with me again. Um, I This episode is really kind of strange for me because it's gonna be the first of my time probably really talking about it. But this episode discusses abandonment issues. I am battling abandonment issues. It's something that's been going on for the bulk of my life. Um, and it's derived from my mother passing away when I was a lot younger. So, when I was 7 years old, my mom got sick, and it was very unexpected. Literally one day we're at home and we're watching TV and everything's okay, and the next minute it's like, for as much as I can remember, it was the ambulance there to pick her up, bringing her to Tulane Hospital in New Orleans, where she was for almost a year. Um, and it was just so it's just so strange even now as an adult to try and talk about it because she literally was fine. We were watching TV, we're in the house, it's a normal Saturday, and the next minute I just remember the paramedics knocking on the door. My aunts were there, and I think my grandmother, my dad's mom, rode in the ambulance with my mom down to New Orleans. From there, literally, if you can imagine this, every day, my dad, my sister, myself, my brother, well, my dad, my sister, myself mostly. My brother was in school at the time, so it was weird. But I just remember it was almost mechanical. It was like I go to school in the morning, I get home in the afternoon, we get in the car, we go to see my mom. And if we didn't have school, we were there earlier. Um, and I just remember like every day, initially, my mom was, it didn't seem like she was deathly ill by any means. She just seemed, like herself. My mom was always a very feisty woman. She'd say what was on her mind. Um, and one day it was like she's not responsive. And for a while it was like that. She just wasn't responsive. Um, and I remember the very last time that I saw her, I remember walking up to the bed and they were like, tell her, you want her to come home and tell her that, you love her and all that stuff. And in my mind, even as a kid, I was like, well, duh, what else am I going to tell her? Hey, Ma, I need you to come home and wash my socks. I mean, neither here nor there. But anyway, my mom, um, my mom ended up passing. And I remember the day that it happened. I remember the day I found out, I should say. I remember I got home from school and my dad, um, who is the first superhero that I ever knew, and who I love all to pieces, and I respect more than anything. My dad was sitting on the bed, and he said, "Hey, come sit down." And me being me, I'm like, okay, well, what time are we leaving? I just need to go and change my clothes, whatever. And he sat with me, and he just kind of said, "Well, I don't think we're gonna go today." Because they just called me and told me that your mom passed away. As a kid, I mean, again, I was 7, and and this is not bragging. I've always been a fairly bright kid. I heard what he said and I understood what he said, but the gravity of what he said had not hit me. So it was just like it was a process. I heard it, I understood it, I processed it, but there was nothing, no real feeling there yet. So for the next couple days, I remember like all the planning stuff. Okay, we have to do the program. We have to, see the body. We have to view the body. And I remember seeing my mom and thinking it didn't look like her. Um, Again, I know it was her, and I know that the funeral home does what they do what they do, but it just didn't look like her to me for some reason. And again, although intellectually I knew this is my mom, she's passed away, that is what it is, but for me, it didn't register. I never registered the fact that she's not coming back. I think it wasn't until maybe her funeral, maybe the day of her funeral, um, was the first time that I really remember crying, kind of uncontrollably, about the fact that my mom had passed away. And that was because that was the first time it really registered for me. That was the first time it really set in that my mom's not going to come home. And there won't be any more Christmases where I'm sitting with her and she's cooking and I'm watching her cook. There's not going to be any more me hearing her call my name, me hearing her yell at me. While some people may not think that's a fond memory, for me it actually is, because usually I had it coming. Um, but to lose her so suddenly, it gave me some serious abandonment issues. Like I became very hot or cold when it came to people. So if you were around, I always wanted you around. But if I felt like you would leave, I'd disconnect first and I'd just be like, whatever, bye. And I carried that with me all the way into my adulthood, and I see it happening even today, where it's like if I think somebody's going to leave, I will just push them away. And it's weird because, like, even now with my youngest nephew, um, I can't stand to see him cry when I leave. I will sit by the door just to make sure that he calms down. I can't be okay with him crying when I'm leaving because in my mind, I never want him to feel like I'm not coming back. Abandonment issues run so deep for so many people. The one thing I will always say is learn how to check yourself on those things. If you find yourself just like you throw people away way easily, think about why you're doing it. Think about what's causing it. Have they done something to really warrant that? Or is this just like an insecurity that you're holding? Or is this something that you're fighting with? Again, I don't know if anything that I just said helped anybody, but I just want you to know that sometimes we make decisions out of fear that are not based in any reality. I mean, you have to think about that. For me, losing my mom so suddenly made me question losing other people that I love in the same way. So I say that to say abandonment issues are real. They really are. And they can start as a baby or they can start in adulthood. And it comes from a variety of different things. Again, work hard on yourself to understand what they are. Work hard on yourself to understand what your triggers are when it comes to things like that. Um, and if you really feel like it's impacting your everyday life, definitely see somebody about that because it's worth processing through and understanding how it affects you on a day to day. All right, that's been it for this episode. Thank you all for being with me. As I said before, I'm excited. I'm geeked. Like, share, and subscribe. Remember, love yourself and love somebody else. We'll all be better for it. Thanks.